Hi, this is Jill Varville with the Dixiecast podcast, The Sound of the South. Today I am here with Kyle Curry, who works for the Washington County Emergency Management Department here in Washington County, Arkansas. So, Kyle, why don't you start off by maybe just letting us know what you do for the County Management Department.
Okay. I work for, like Ms. Jill said, I work for emergency management for the county. And basically we coordinate with law enforcement, fire, EMS, emergency services to assist in response needs, as well as emergency planning, preparedness, equipment, and every other thing in between from there that somebody might need. We do a little bit of everything.
Okay. So maybe historically speaking, what are some of the things that you've been involved with in the way of maybe like a natural disaster or the like through the course of your time working for the county?
Okay. There's a lot of things that go on in Washington County. Some things are pretty well known, some aren't, but I can just say that we're really blessed in Washington County to have a lot of really great emergency service providers and responders, and that's really that's one of the reasons you don't maybe not hear about everything that goes on. But we have natural disasters such as heavy rains, flash flooding, straight line winds, tornadoes, of course the ice storms that we have every once in a while, the regular incidents that we have, medical calls, fires, law enforcement call-outs, just a little bit of everything. It's not really what it used to be as far as small town Fayetteville, small town Northwest Arkansas. It's a lot of everything that you see on TV around the country and the world.
So how does the county management work with other government agencies?
Well, we do a lot of coordination, and that's probably one of the key things that emergency management does is building partnerships, fortifying those partnerships, getting people to talk. Some people or agencies may not be aware of what other people or agencies can bring to the table as far as assistance, whether it's equipment, personnel, training. That's the biggest thing is just getting those groups together, because emergency services, it's not so much compartmentalized as it used to be. It's more of an all-hazard toolbox. I spent a career in the fire service, and it's not just getting on a truck and going to a fire or going to a wreck. It's everything that you can imagine, and when people call 911, they're looking for somebody to help them, to de-victimize them, to get them through the hardest part of their life that they may have ever been through. And you never know what you're gonna face, but that's where we come in is we build those bridges and make everybody aware and get those initial introductions over with before the emergency happens.
You just mentioned something that kind of stood out to me, and that is the communication aspect of it. I would just imagine so much of what you do and what y'all do depends on asking the right questions.
It is. I mean, and a lot of times, I'll just throw this out there, when you call 911, a lot of people get frustrated with how many questions. We like a lot of information, because while we're en route, that helps us better plan on how to respond. And information, talking, discussing, those things happen constantly, from even before an incident happens to during the response, as I mentioned, and until the completion, and even afterwards. We talk about what could we do better, what went well, what didn't go well. So communication is key among all of us.
Yeah. I would imagine, especially right now, as I can kind of hear the faint sound of rain, and I think we're going to be getting some pretty heavy rain coming up here, but I mean, what are the most, I would imagine flooding, what is the most common natural disaster that we experience here in Northwest Arkansas, would you say?
I would definitely say that it's flash flooding. We tend to get periods with a lot of rain, and the ground gets soaked where it really won't hold it anymore, and it runs off, and that in turn causes a lot of areas to flash flood or cover with water, and we try to educate, turn around, don't drown, but people are in a hurry, they're not paying attention, and it causes issues. And sometimes it just can't be helped. Sometimes in the middle of the night, we've had areas adjacent to creeks and rivers that's just the way it is. The water comes up, and our responders have to try to go in and access the people and either ensure their safety or even try to evacuate them out.
Speaking, that's a good segue to some of the apps that we've come to rely upon and websites. Do you have any that you think everybody should have on their phone?
I really do. I would have some type of weather app, whether it's WeatherBug or something that you can set an alarm, and don't set them for all of them. You can even set for hurricanes and typhoons, which we're not going to have to worry about that.
Never get any sleep.
That's right. You won't get any sleep. There's always something going on. I would probably do warnings, because the warning is when conditions are right, and it's not it might, it's probably going to happen. And you can set it for your geographic location based on your address. That's WeatherBug, any type of app like that. Washington County has Code Red. You can go through our office at Emergency Management and sign up on Code Red, and we'll push out data either through your phones, through text, through email. Hey, beware, this is coming. You're in an area that might be getting some weather. You're in an area that you need to be aware. And I know that Fayetteville and Springdale have other options that they can do. Just talk to your fire departments in those areas. They're usually aware of that.
Mm-hmm. And as we approach this seasons, I mean, there's always something. Not so much, I guess, in the summertime, but seemingly in the winter. What are some of the most important ways that people should stay prepared and anticipatory of some of these common events that plague us? I hate to use that word, plague.
Nope,
I don't mean
that's
that.
the truth. I like that question. Preparedness. That's one of the biggest things that you can do is be prepared. But coming with that is be aware, and that's just it's just kind of like your mentality. When you wake up in the morning, what's the weather going to do? What's it going to be like today? What are the current events around here? What's going on? And it's just an overall awareness of being aware of your surroundings, weather-wise. That in the spring and sometimes even in the summer, and we can get some really really bad weather as far as storms. And in the winter, it's just like, is it going to be 60 degrees today and then by this afternoon be 20 degrees? That awareness, that's just a whole. You just have to get yourself to train yourself to be aware. Like when you go into the grocery store, most people in an emergency incident will try to exit the same way that they entered a structure.
Mm-hmm.
Be aware when you're walking around. What are some other exits I can use? Where are some other places that I can get for safety? Whether it's weather, whether it's active aggressor, even in a restaurant. Be aware at your house. I can tell you 110% that any response agency in Northwest Arkansas, if you have a doubt, call. Well, I thought I smelled smoke, but I wasn't for sure. Well, I just didn't feel right. It's better to call and let somebody verify it than to wait. So don't ever hesitate to call.
I like that kind of operating in a mindset, because you're right. It's not something that always comes natural, but just keeping aware exits. I don't ever even look at stuff like that, but I know that I would do that very thing. I would try to go out the same way that I came in.
It's convenient. That's the way you come in and out every time.
Yeah.
It's like having water in your car, even in the summer, but especially for the winter if you get stuck. Do I have a blanket? Do I have chem lights or flashlights? Do I have flashlights at the house? Just that mindset of preparedness. Used to, it was, well, if we can hold on for 24 to 72 hours, somebody's going to be here to help us. And I think nowadays you have to be self-reliant. The 72 hours, if it's something small, chances are emergency services are going to be there within a few minutes. If it's a large scale, they may get to you when they get to you, because there may be a whole lot of people down the road before they can even reach you that they have to help. So be
Right.
self-reliant.
Right. Is there anything that you would like to impart to our audience that would help them in terms of preparedness, or just some useful tips that maybe they wouldn't find on Google?
Sure. The biggest thing is hydration. I think that we've had some weather and some incidents lately that has impacted water. And if you know very well that if you go without being able to turn on the tap and get a nice glass of water or take a shower, that's a big deal. I would have a couple cases of water at the house, rotate them, every 6 months, because they will sit for a while in the plastic bottles, but be back to that preparedness mindset. Have water that you can use, and just set it back. Food, batteries, your medicines are the big thing. We deploy sometimes. Our state team, Washington County, houses part of the state team for Arkansas for SWAT, Urban Search and Rescue, which is like the Oklahoma City bombing, and the CBRN piece, which is like the hazmat people. Those three teams, and the USAR will deploy to. We recently deployed to Louisiana, and we went down there after the hurricane, and water is such a huge deal that it really made me think. But people were trying to find medicines. So if you're on medicines and you're really dependent on it, talk to your provider and say, hey, can I have a prescription a little extra, and rotate that, of course. But think of things that in the event of emergency you really need. Things you are nice, but then there's things that you need and have to have, and make yourself a plan. Have contact numbers. If responders come to your house and you're incapacitated, have a sign up there that says on the fridge, these are the medicines that I require and what I'm taking. These are my contacts, things like that.
Wow. Yeah, that's good advice. And like you said, with regard to the medicines, if you don't ask,
That's right.
I mean,
that's right.
Anything you'd like to share? What's the best part about your job?
Oh gosh, I think the best part is talking to people. I think working, like I said early in this conversation, we're really blessed to have responders in Northwest Arkansas, and any responder that have a servant's heart, that it's just, they go out and they interact with people on the very worst day of their life. And I think working with them, I used to get on the truck and go do it. Now I'm kind of taking care of the people that take care of people, and that's a big deal, because I get to see other people going out and really impacting in a positive way, and that's good to see. There's I would say that's everywhere in the United States, that responders are going to respond. They're going to help no matter where you're at. That is probably the best part of the job, is working with them and hearing what they've done and what they're doing and their training and what they're preparing for, and they're very innovative. Some of the things that they do, some of the things that they deal with. That's I could say that if you have a loved one that's in a response capacity, sometimes it's not real good. So they may have an off day once in a while, and maybe they just need a pat on the back or a cup of coffee and just a good listen. But that's probably the best part of my job, is the people.
Well, we're very fortunate to have you here in Washington County, and I want to say thank you for joining me today, and you be safe out there.
Okay. Thank you for the opportunity.
Thank you, Kyle. Thank you for joining me today. This is Jill Varvel with the Dixiecast podcast, The Sound of the South. We'll see you next time for another heaping helping of Southern comfort for your ears.
There's a dark and a troubled side of life. There's a bright and a sunny side too. Though we meet with the darkness and strife, sunny side we oh so